And
Let's
even though I've been working on
go!
this,
Never really watched them growing up. I was a little too old when this animation trend started coming up, so I would rather fight them. They invoke rage in me. I want to be a part of it emotionally. Put them up. Hey there, guy, dude. Freaking, I saw this come up in my recommended. It looks like this person, Milo's World, has made a video saying they're making a game featuring a bunch of animation YouTubers. Like, I think I saw Odd Ones Out and some other recognizable little avatars. Is this Jaden's Animations? I never really watched any of these YouTubers, but it still seemed interesting. I've played games that featured them before, so let's check it out.
So I've been working on a YouTube animation fight game where you play as all your favorite animators fighting against
Animation
each other
Annihilation. Okay, see, yeah, this was in the thumbnail. I think he looks freaking
their own movements
epic and odd. Rather odd, if you ask me, when bro puts his foot in my odd hole.
Originally, I made this as my first game ever in a kid's game making website called Scratch, using a tutorial to make it. But because I had absolutely
Scratch? I freaking heard of that, but I didn't even know it was a website. Okay.
No idea what I was doing, as a dude who just wanted to make a game with literally no experience, and the site was already too limited for the project, it didn't exactly turn out to be the fight game I had in my head.
It's like Smash Bros, but with my
bros. For the past few
bros.
months, I've been stuck in my room learning coding, animation, and a bunch of other stuff to make a better version with multiple attacks, quicker movements, a better look, and a lot of other stuff. And
Let's
even though I've been working
go!
on this for a while, it's still in early development and has not been an easy process as someone who's just starting out making games. But I still wanted to update you all on how it's been going so far because I know it's been a while. So the idea is to make the game feel like you're fighting in your favorite animator's YouTube video, with all the characters in their same...
Like I said, I was never really watched them growing up. I was a little too old when this animation trend started coming up, so I would rather fight them. They invoke rage in me. I want to be a part of it
attacks,
emotionally.
Personalities, and having stages based on their worlds, with every animator getting their own map. Now, in order to make a better fight game, I needed to get a better game engine to work in than Scratch, which meant I had to take the time to learn a new coding language from, well, Scratch. So recently, I've been learning how to make games in Godot, which is one of the better game engines to code all the mechanics in. I started practicing making a few games in here for myself to get myself used to the program and its coding language, and yeah, it was hard. Thankfully, I was able to get in touch with multiple game developers who were able to give me advice on how to make games in Godot, with one of the main ones being Vinter Makes Games, who's made multiple fight games in Godot and was a big help in teaching me how to make my own and better understand the absolute gibberish I was typing. And once I understood how to code some of the basics, now I could actually get into the actual game. Now, I want the full game to be like Smash Bros, where you can keep adding more and more animators, but for the demo, I decided to only go with a couple different characters, which I'll talk about those more in a future video. But I thought it would be best to start off with...
I think you should add Strong Bad from Homestar Runner. Just my thoughts.
Odd Ones Out, since he's pretty much the face of YouTube animation. And speaking on characters, I thought it would be a pretty good idea to give you all a chance to pick some of your favorite characters you want to see in the game. The demo characters are already set, but let me know in the comments who you want to see in the full game.
Put some pants on, brother.
And after the demo releases, I'll pick some of the most liked suggestions. But anyway, the first milestone was to work on the mechanics for how I want the game to look, as in basic character movements, attacks, and menu systems, so that I could build onto them later. First thing I worked on was some of James's movements and attacks. Now, as you know, I'm new to coding, but I'm also sort of new to animation too. For the Scratch version, there was barely any fluid animation in the attacks, so I spent about a few weeks learning to animate movements, mainly studying video game attacks frame by frame, and adjusting their movements how I wanted them to look, and also trying to recreate the Odd Ones Out style to fit the game. And after a few tries, I was finally able to get a final design that I liked. I took some time to plan out his movements because I wanted the animations to feel like something you would watch out of one of his videos, or at least something close to that, so I gave him some of his basic movements like running, crouching, jumping, and idle, where I included some of his personality and gave him more of that bouncy Marshmallow Man aesthetic. Now, for the actual attacks, the attack system works where every animator gets 3 basic attacks, 3 special attacks, and a basic and special air attack. And just for now, I only wanted to work on the 3 basic attacks, so I took some time to find some references I could use for his attack. And after a couple other ideas, I decided to go with a basic punch, kick, and boxing punch, and threw him into the game. And of course, I had to make the first battle stage the ultimate white void, because that's pretty much almost every YouTube animator's background at this point. So now I can finally start coding everything to actually work right. And this is where everything gets good. I was able to make the move, attack, and have some camera movement, and even include some health bars. And by the end of it, this was the end product I finished for the first milestone. It's not the best looking thing ever, but I was super excited because already I had a better game than my original Scratch version, with multiple attacks and a smoother movement mechanic, and this was only just the beginning. It took some time to get everything working right, but once everything was fixed, I think it looked pretty good. I showed the project to Vinter, the guy who helped me understand how to code in Godot, and after seeing the idea for the game, he actually offered to help build onto the code of the project and give it a more polished look, since he was a much more experienced coder. developer. So we've been working together adding more features and attacks to make the game look more professional. And I don't want to show anything until one of the next videos I make on the game, but I'm so excited for what we've been working on. Hopefully we can finish this game up by early next year, but we don't want to rush ourselves because I realize fighting games are not the quickest projects to pump out. The game's going to be released for free since it's a fan project, and if you want to stay updated on the project, consider subscribing and following me on Twitter, because like I said, I'll be making videos on here updating you all as we continue working on the project around other content I have planned. Honestly, it's been such a fun experience working on this, and I'm so proud that I was able to improve on this.
Yeah, dude, this looks freaking sick, especially for your first game. I don't know how to do any of that, dude. I learned stuff just from here in this video.